Okay.
I request to all
Yeah.
I request to all students, please check their audio if they're muted.
Okay. Yeah, all are muted here. I think Lisha Vijay is not been muted. Muted. Yeah, I can see from here. Drishya. Drishya, is it Drishya who is speaking?
Yes.
Yeah, now it's okay,
Okay.
Drishya. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Hope you all have dropped your names on the chat box. Yeah. Okay. So now let's start our lessons. That is today's session on book 9, which you can find here. Which is the last book of our MEG 4, and today we'll be finishing this particular book, and by this our program MEG 4 is gonna finish. Okay, and we were talking about the books which we have gone through earlier, that is right from 1 to till this 9, and in those books we have of MEG4 itself, and in those books we have so far found many aspects of language, and we have learned how language is formed and what is language, and we have found many theories about language, which was put forward many people like many valuable linguists like Ferdinand de Saussure. Then we can find Strauss is coming. Then many anthropologists have also contributed their own contributions to this study of linguistics, and many psychologists like many are there who have gave great contributions of their own part. Likewise, we can find that it is after a long studies and after a long toil work, we can find the English which we are learning now. Okay, and we have found that how this particular language English has been formed, and what is the evolution of English, that is the phonology we have traced, like we can find that is English has been traced out from the forefather, the language that is Indo-European language, then comes Germanic. From there we can trace to West Germanic, and it is from this West Germanic that we can find English language, isn't it? And we have found how it was standardized, which are the steps which undergone to standardize this particular language. And we know that this actually the dialect which was selected to standardize this particular language, that is English, which we are seeing now, it was started from the East Midland of England at those times in the Old English period, and we know that the what were the reasons to select, that is just because of the area, the larger area. Then again, it was the dialect which was used by the people who are situated at the central portion of England. And then we can find that the great universities like Cambridge, Oxford, all these universities were situated there. Then the London city is coming over there. And these are the main reasons why this particular dialect of, that is East Midland dialect, was selected to standardize as English language, which we are seeing now and using now. And and we can find that this particular dialect now, after a lot of improvisation, after standardization, we can find that improvisation is going on and going on and going on. Now we know that it is being spread it all over the world, isn't it? And we know that a varieties of language have been plated for us. Actually, if we are going towards America, we can find that people are talking English there with a different way, the different dialect that they are using, different usages over there. Their pronunciation is different. Then when we are going to say Australia, we can find another the third way. So Likewise, we can find that this particular language has been spread all over the world, and it has been crowned as the king of languages, isn't it? And now, and also the admired one again. And we can find that, and we have learned, we're going through what were the reasons for spreading this particular language all over the world, and why different countries have taken this language taken into granted, and why they have made this language as their official language. Likewise, many reasons are there, and we have gone through all these reasons in the textbook so far. Then we have seen the phonetic aspects, like the usage of language, the grammar, how it has been formed, what are the differences undergone in the grammar. We can find the in the first stage we can find the predictive grammar, then we can find which was actually imposed, that is which talked about how to use grammar. And then came descriptive grammar, then came generative grammar. It was quite by the Chomsky, and it is quite interesting that find that generative grammar is giving consideration for the personality, for the mind and thought of a person, and says that a person is a creative, a human is a creative creature among all other beings, and human beings have that capacity, that is LAD, the language acquisition devices with them, with their competency and performance. They are creating, generating more and more structures in English, isn't it? And not only in English, in every language it is happening so. And and we can find the transformative grammar, where the sentence which could be transformed to different way, and how the that is we have seen the T transfer, M transfer on these things. Okay. So likewise, we have undergone all the aspects of language. We have learned now all the aspects of language. We have seen everything. Okay. Now we have reached to a particular juncture where we can find that we are enough to say that yeah, we know what a language and linguistic is. Okay, just to say that at least we can say that we know what language and linguistic is. Now, so as masters, or as you're going to be masters of language, you should be able to answer all the questions which are being asked by the people who doesn't know all these areas. Okay. And in this particular textbook, which is the final textbook, that is the ninth textbook, we can find that we are again trying to conclude all these things, and where we can find the language variation which we were tracing in the last books is coming to an end, and it is being told that language variations are according to the context of the situation. Then it is being told, then we are put to the non-information of linguistics and literary criticism and stylistics. So what I have to then style and content. So what I have to say here is that, see, don't feel that now say it's a start. It's just a base for you. Okay, now you have got a platform, or a complete knowledge about the complete background of language and language and linguistic. And now starts your job. Okay, now starts your job to find that and check that, yeah, whatever I have learned, what has been going on in the discourse which I am learning. Discourse means anything like novel, poetry, or anything, whatever discourse you are, even if it's a speech, you can find this, how that speaking person is using language. Yeah, he is having his own variation like that. Okay, then so now the job is starting actually. Anyway, let's move to the first unit. There you can find the language variation, which talks about the context of language situation, which is making variation in language. So here, as I have told, again, they are just describing what a language is, and here we'll find that, the competency and of a person. The competency, I have told you what is competency. Actually, the ability for a person to use the language, acquisite and also use the language. That is, see, that ability is known as competency, and the process of using is known as performance. Okay, so with this competency, people are just acquisiting their own ways, and while using, they are taking the freedom of using their own ways. So we can find different variations in the language. Even if it comes to an individual, that individual has got his own individual difference, and he's using his own freedom to use the language which he's using to communicate to others. Okay, and we can find, and again, we can find that the variations is again in a particular individual itself. The variation is happening when he is being subjected to different situations. Okay, so for example, if he is in an office, we can find that he is using the language in a official way, and if he is in with his in an outing with his friends, we can find that he's in a very casual way. Now the variations have been found, we can trace the variation there. Again, when he's talking to his child, he'll be in a different register, and if he is talking to his so let me tell you, see, you can find that if when a father is talking to a child, then you can find there's a particular style which he is talking, isn't it? Then when he's talking to his wife, it's different. When he's talking to his mother, it will be quite different again. Then if he's when he finds his father, more different. Then when he's before his boss, or when he's before somebody who is quite respectable, like maybe just suppose he's finding the prime minister and talking to that particular person, that is prime minister, and you can find that he's changing his way of usage and his way of talking, the style, everything in an entirely different way. So this is the variation of language with respect to an individual. And so this is what is we are going to get in this particular portion, that the language variation is happening according to the context or the situation. Okay, so here, first of all, we can find that a term is that is in page number 7. You can find a term that is dialect, under dialect, that is idiolect. Then before that, you can find synchronic and dichronic variation. Okay, synchronic and dichronic variation. What do you mean by that? Nothing. Actually, it's in a synchronic variation, you can find the variation within one time period. Okay. And while we are learning the dichronic variation of speeches, then we can find that we are gonna work on the variation due to time factors. As time is passing, we can find the variations. Okay. So, actually, we are aware of diachronic variation of English already, because in English literature itself, if you are tracing, see, if you can find that if you are learning, as we have learned, we have finished our poetry already, and while learning poetry, we can find that in the 14th century, we learned about Chaucer, isn't it? And you could find the lines of Chaucer in a particular way. He is using the language. And when it comes to, as it moves, as the centuries are passing, we can find that this particular English is undergoing a difference, quite difference. That is, when it comes to Milton, when it reaches to Milton, you can find that, yeah, Milton is using in another way, and when it comes again and again to T.S. Eliot, and now now the contemporary writers and all, you can find that you can trace the difference between the difference of variation of language which they are using. could be just traced out from your poetry class textbook itself, isn't it? And it's quite easy for you to work on the poetries which you find in the last books, isn't it? In the 20th century and all. So that's because the reason behind it is that the as the time passes, okay, as I have told you while we were discussing about the standardization of language, I told you that language was standardized once. Yeah, it's true, but it's never static. It's never static. It's actually dynamic. It undergoes flexes. It undergoes changes. We are actually taking in, that is borrowing many usages. We are eliminating many usages, and it's actually the improvisation are going on and going on and going on as time passes. So this improvisation is what happening by when we are learning the Chaucer, and when we are learning T.S. Eliot or somebody in the 20th century, like you can find many like yeah, any other say if you're if you're reading Salman Rushdie, or if you're reading somebody or whom you can find now like Agatha Christie, all these things, you can find that, yeah, quite different, isn't it? So this particular variation by the of language by the time is known as diachronic. Now that that we know, but we are not aware of synchronic variation. Okay, so what is synchronic variation? The variations within a particular period. See, the time is not going. Actually, in that particular period itself, variations are formed. So now we are going to stick on the synchronic variations, and in this chapter, we'll be going to learn the synchronic variation of language. So, in order to learn that, in order to check the variations in a particular situation, sorry, in a particular period itself, we have to know about the dialects which are being used by different people. I have told you what are the dialects. Dialects, we can find two types of dialects. We can divide dialects into two. That is, one is regional dialect and another one is social class dialect, isn't it? So, whether it is regional or social, we can find that the dialects are the different ways or the different sisters of the same language. Okay, so one example is given here in page number 7. That is, you can find that British RP and American English, that pronunciations are given for last, LAST, last. And when it comes to British RP, we can find that this R is being used as last. And when it comes to American English, we can find last, last. That's the way how they're pronouncing that particular vowel. That is, R is being, yeah, that dialect is being formed by the variation of that particular vowel. Okay, that is, R is changed to A. Then again, if it comes to dance, D-A-N-C-E, dance, we pronounce it as dance because it is the right pronunciation of British RP, that is dance. But when it comes to American, we can see the dance. Dance is being used, isn't it? So these are the different, these are the variations which we can find in the pronunciation aspect. Okay, when it comes to the syntactic difference, okay, in syntactic difference we can find that different from, say, if you're if the places where people use different from, see, it is different from this, that is different from this. If you are telling, then that is the way how British RP is being constructed, or British RP is being followed. Then when it comes to American English, we can find that they are not using different from, but they are using different than. It's different than this. It's different than this. We always use it's different from this, isn't it? So there are some syntactic variations than the pronunciation. Then comes to lexical difference. For one example, I'll quote to you is that I'll quote is that petrol. See, in the case of petrol, we all use petrol, isn't it? But this petrol is not being called as petrol by the Americans. They use it as gas. Entirely lexical changes there. Then, when it comes to morphological difference, we can find that, yeah, dived is used as dove, or we can find, say, color, the spelling. If you are going to spelling, we know that color, COLOUR, is being written as COLOR. So, likewise, see, wherever OU comes in American English, we can phrase it as O, and many other differences are also there. So here itself, by just comparing the two dialects, that is American and British, we can find the difference over there. So there are the variations which are being found in a particular period itself. So this is known as synchronic variation. Okay, hope you have got it. And while we're talking about synchronic variation, you should know what an idiolect is. What is an idiolect? See, nothing but the dialect used by a particular person is known as an individual, is known as idiolect. Okay, the changes with respect to the individual's use is known as idiolect. Okay, so for example, we can find that many people are they're using the term the word uncle. Uncle is being used, then uncle is being used, that is in between k and k and l we can find a vowel sound like curl. Uncle. Some says uncle, some says uncle, then some says uncle. Yeah, so it's a variation that there you can find the idiolect there. That's a variation how people are using. See, we are not talking about the right one, or we are not sorting the right one from the wrong. See, the right one, you know what is which is the right one? The standardized English RP pronunciation. Okay. So, as masters of English, you have to stick with this pronunciation. Okay, don't say that. Yeah, I do have an idiolect. That's why I'm using that. The idiolect is there. That's why my pronunciation is likewise. Don't go for such arguments. We are just tracing the variations, how people are using and making differences, making variations, and it doesn't argue that it is right or wrong. Actually, the right one, which an educated person has to follow, is the standardized form. And we have found many examples for that. And we have found many researches done by the people and seen that the educated one are more attached to the standardized pronunciation, and those who are coming from the working class or the lower strata, we can find that they are, or those who are not exposed to good language, good educated situations are being using these variations, and they are the people who are making variation. So what is our job as language learners and language teachers? Our job is to disseminate the right way of talking, that is the right pronunciation and right syntactic and right lexical or right morphological usages, which we have to learn first, which is the standard one, which is the RP rigid pronunciation, which is the standardized form, and then we have to disseminate it. Okay, so then let me talk about dialect boundaries. Okay, what is a dialect boundaries? Just the difference which occurs in the dialect of a specific geographical area. Okay, so you can find that as we have talked about the regional dialects, we can find that the dialects are formed by the as regions are formed. Okay, or as the speakers are being spread to distance, we can find this variation. So here, that is in dialect boundaries, we can just mark a boundary in the geographical areas in order to say that, yeah, this particular area is most likely using the same dialect and other area, say another dialect. Okay, and this boundary lines are called the isoglows. Okay, in page number 8, you can find a term isoglows. Don't forget, it's nothing but the boundary lines, that markings, the lines which we are making, or the separation which we are making and by the between the dialects are known as isoglows. And building of isoglows, it has been formed here. That is, isoglows tend to come together, and the grouping of isoglows we can find, that is here in page number 8. You can find that picture. It is very clearly giving you the idea about dialect boundary. See, now we are dealing with a very simple portion of language and linguistics. So far we are tackling with the grammar portion, how the grammar has been formed and which was the grammar at the first, and how the changes came, and what all the trees and everything, then the pronunciation, then to syntax, obviously the transformations, then syntax, everything we dealt with. Now this is a little bit simple, simple things now which we are discussing, and but these are important. You should know all these things, okay? And but these are simple, it's very easy to understand. Then comes dialects and languages. See, there what you want to know is that mutual intelligibility. Okay, so what do you mean by mutual intelligibility? See, in order to understand that, or in order to categorize that among the language and a dialect, how can you differentiate them? Not to distinguish these two things, that is language and dialect, you can use the technique of mutual intelligibility. So what do you mean by intelligibility? Nothing but understanding capacity. Okay, understanding. Okay, so mutual understanding. If you are putting two speakers to speak together of same dialects, okay, then sorry, not same dialects, sorry, with two different dialects, okay, within no time they can adjust it. Okay, even if there's a great variation, you can find it there within no time. They can adjust it, and they'll be easily forming a mutual intelligibility there by understanding each other's language or communication. But if it happens between two languages, no way. See, it takes years, or it takes, if it is more intelligent person, we can say that it is, if he's a more powerful person in a lady, we can say that, yeah, he may take it 5 months. Okay, but if you are subjecting a particular, say, two speakers of different dialects, and find that within no time, or within a little bit of time, they are easy to adjust with and understand each other's communication. So this is a very simple test through which you can categorize or differentiate a language and a dialect. Okay, so if you're, for example, if you want an example, I will make it clear with an example. Like, see, suppose a person who knows, Hindi, well, he knows only Hindi, and a person who knows only French. Okay, and these two persons are put together to talk. What will happen? Just think. Whether they can understand anything? No, you can't expect it, isn't it? Maybe after a long while, or after years, or sort of months, or years, we can say that, yeah, they have started their mutual intelligibility. But if you are just putting persons like Marathi and Konkani, two languages, that is dialects, we can find there, and those people can they can easily communicate within a little bit of time itself. They can just understand each other. Okay, So that's a good example with which you can find that how the dialect and a language could be categorized or distinguished. Okay. Then comes structural, two terms like structural and functional dimensions. Okay. What is a structural dimension of language and what is a functional dimension of a language? Structural dimension means it is a descriptive or analyzing the structure of a language. We know what a structure of a language is, and the structural dimension is just the description of that structure. Okay. Then what's a functional? Quite easy. That is, it is concerned with the use of a particular, or you can say that it's concerned with the function of a language. And what's a function? Function means it's the use of a particular language or by a speaker. Okay, that's the function. So when it is concerned with the use of the speaker who make more and more codes. We talked about encoding process. So a speaker who can make more and more codes. Okay, so learning that particular aspect is known as the functional dimension of language and dialect. Okay, now what is a standard dialect? See, standard dialect. Nothing. See, we talked about many, that is in a language itself, we can find many dialects, as we have found the dialects of English in England in Old English period, where there were many dialects, and of them the major dialects were that is one Northern, then East Midland, West Midland, and then Southern dialects. It was divided accordingly, and so these are the dialects, isn't it? So, but why this East Midland was selected? Because they found that it is the standard dialect. So, what is a standard dialect? Standard dialect means a dominant dialect. Okay, it's a dominant dialect which become prestigious one after a after a long usage. We can find that yeah, it is heading forward. People are using more, and people could yeah, they are accepting it more, and they are sticking on it, and yeah, it is heading forward, and it is taking a dominant position in the speaking world. So that is a standard dialect. Okay. Then see, now comes accent. Accent is nothing but the phonological variation. See, accent of a person means his phonological variation. You know what are the phonological variations? And accent is concerned with only the phonological variation of a speaker. And as we are as we are learning now the synchronic variations, we are just talking about the accent of a particular speaker or a particular period of time itself. Okay, so there you can find that yeah, the phonological variation means we know. We Indians it's very easy for we Indians to understand that what will be the phonological difference in English while we are using it. See, as you know, for example, if you are taking the word gate, 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 the real pronunciation is gate, isn't it? But many of the Indians, especially the North Indians, they use it as get. मैं गेट पे रखा है get, not gate. They are not using the diphthong there. The sliding or gliding is not being done. They are just prolonging it as get, but the real pronunciation is gate. Okay, then comes home. See, many of us are using it. Many of us, how we are pronouncing it, home. It's home which we are pronouncing, but it is wrong. It's the accental difference which is made there. Actually, it is home. The real pronunciation is home. Oh, the diphthong O is used there, home. Okay, but there are people who use this O everywhere, feeling that yeah, that is the right pronunciation. No, there is also the phonetic phoneme O, and wherever you want to use O in the received pronunciation, you have to use O itself, and wherever it is Ho, you have to use O. Okay, so that's the how you can accept it, how you can use the correct accent, just only by the real knowledge. Okay, or you can just get exposed to good, if you're listening to good English of people who are learned, educated people, then you can just trace it out. Never think that all the native language speakers are using good English or standard English. No, many of them are making this dialectal problem is there for them. Many of them are using the accental issues, using the language with accental issues. So never follow every Western speakers. Never follow the speakers who are, you see, never think that, yeah, he's a white, so you can just follow his language. No, he may be committing a lot mistakes of his own. Maybe he's on idiolectic, or he's on, or we can say that he'll be from a particular dialect, or we can say that maybe he is from a particular dialect which is not at all accepted to, or which is very far away from the standardized form. Okay, so always try to listen to the educated people, how they are pronouncing, how they are using their language and all. Okay, now comes style. Okay, so what do you mean by style? See, that is again coming to the individual person, who an individual who is using language always use it with his own style. So we'll say that, yeah, if you are talking about, if you are talking about style, we can see that many styles are there. If that is like the style of yeah, we can find the style of especially different stylists. You can find the style of Tagore. Tagore's style is different in Indian English, and that of R.K. Narayanan is entirely different. Then if you're coming to Kamaladas, it's quite different style she's using. See, so we can come. See, I'll make it clear with a more examples, okay, so that it will be more clear for you. So what are styles? See, now we are going to deal with styles for a little bit time. So more formal will be, see, in some cases will be more formal. Okay, what do you mean by becoming more formal? Formal means, yeah, if you are, for example, you take your own example. If you are going to attend an interview, there you will be producing a different, you will be talking in a particular style there, isn't it? And then after coming back, you are on the way, you are finding a stranger and he's asking you about, yeah, where were you going? So you'll be answering in a different style to him because he's a stranger. Then suddenly you are finding a friend of yours, and you will be changing into a different style there. And at last you reaches to your home, and you'll be talking to your mother in an entirely different style. And if you find your sister, it will be entirely another style. Then, and if your interview has gone good, then it will be in a different style to your sister. And if it is not in a very good manner, then it will be another style, isn't it? So, yeah. So the style changes, even if inside a man itself, according to the context or the situation. Okay, so that is style. Now, let us see. So we can find that formal and informal styles, as I have told you, it's very easy to understand what's a formal style and what's an informal style. Mm, okay. So, and another, but a new word is that frozen style. See, the more formal is known as frozen style. What do you mean by frozen style of using language? Normally, for with example, I'll just make it clear for you. In page number 10, a good example is given there. See, let's take a sentence like visitors should see. I'm talking here in a formal style, a frozen style. Okay. So in a frozen style, it is more formal, or it is being used to see actually that is the extreme of formality is known as frozen style, and this is used to express in a fixed way of conversation. Okay, so there you can find, for example, let me talk sentence. Let me tell a sentence in frozen way. That is, visitors should use the two exits at the rear on their way out. When I'm making this particular, converting this particular sentence into formal, that is a little bit less formal, that is formal, okay, than frozen. You can use like this. Visitors should live by the exits at the rear. Okay. Then comes when it is consultative, we can see that, yeah, could you mind leaving by the exits at the rear? Then casual way, you could leave by the doors at the back. Okay. Then in an intimate way, you can find out you go by the back door. So you can find that all these sentences are conveying the same meaning, but you can find a great difference in the way it is being taught according to the situation, isn't it? So what is the thing? See, frozen means it is the extreme way of using the formal language. Normally, this frozen is being used like if you're in see like smoking is prohibited. It is a frozen thing. Okay, smoking is prohibited. It is an extreme formality way we are telling. Okay, and next one is trespassers will be executed. See, it is another frozen way of using. Okay. Formal, that is whenever you are in a formal situation, how you are using the language. Actually, frozen and formal, the difference is that in frozen, the expression is fixed by convention. It is a conventional way that you're using. Okay, no scope is there, no loose structure will not could be found there. It is a fixed way of learning, sorry, it is a fixed way of and using the language, that is frozen. Okay, once again I would say that those who have not put their attendance, please put your name on the chat box. Please drop your name in the chat box. Okay, I think more people have joined after uh, I have told others to do. Then, okay, come back. Yeah, now we can see that various factors at work to create a speech situation. Okay, which are the factors that is which are at work to create a speech situation? Okay, first one is participants in an interaction. Obviously, participants are the main factors who creates this speech situation. Okay, so we have come to a juncture that which argues that yeah, these variations are formed not only because of the use by the individual, but just because it is the use by an individual in a context, in a social context. Okay, so now let us see which are the factors which are making this. Okay, and in that first one is participants. Sure, it's participants who are interacting is making this a particular situation, isn't it? Then comes relationship between the participants in an interaction. Obviously, as I told you, See, when you're speaking to your sister, when you're speaking to your mother, or when you're speaking to your boss, the situation is changing. So that relationship is forming, making it whether it is formal or it's casual or it's intimate or it's consultative. All these variations have been formed by this relationship of these two persons who are talking each other. Okay, then next point is, are they equal in status? That's another important point. See, we are talking about the language in a society, and I have always told you, see, through language, we can find a lot of discriminations in the society. We have talked about it in one session, I think, that is a hegemony of languages form, a hegemony of a dialect or a particular language. Even if you are talking about the English language in India, we can find that, yeah, those people who have got a good tongue in English are being considered as, yeah, oh, he is a very so he's a person of a good status. And if somebody is talking in a poor English or poor pronunciation, we find him as a very, we are considering, or we are cornering that person to a, or we are marginalizing that person to a less importance. So, such discriminations are being formed, and surely we are human beings. It's society and its social character of people to, as they mingle, that no, normally the status is being formed, and actually I would say that it has not been taken many times, it has been given by the people, isn't it? So actually it is those who are trying to take it are being mocked always, isn't it? They have been mocked always, they have been made fun of by people always, so they are not being accepted by the society always. Okay, but the real status is being given by the people. So that is happening. So here I would say that one of the factor which is creating the space situation is the question that, are they in equal status? See, there are people who talk to people, their servants or their subordinates or their the working class people in a very very low, see, in a very see, in a filthy manner, we can find. So even we could feel very pity upon them, upon the speakers. Okay, so that is just because they are dealing with the two people who are making the situation are belongs to two different social status. Okay, and if they belong to the same social status, they will be speaking a different way. And if somebody is speaking to a person to a high social status, he'll be speaking in a different way. So that is also creating a situation. That is also a factor which creates the situation. Then comes a superior, I told you, superior, inferior, the positions. Obviously, age is another one. See, age. I told you, it's a respectful person. That is, if you're talking to your grandfather or grandmother or your father, you have to anyway. If not be, not will be, you have to. Yeah, speak in a respectful manner. Okay, and when it is with your siblings, or with your, say, with your younger siblings and all, you'll be each be very, you can take that freedom or space of communicating. So that is also making the situation. Age is also making the situation. Then sex, always, many times you can find that. Many men are talking to women in an entirely different that is, you can talk it at register. I'll talk about register, that is what is a register is afterwards. Anyway, they'll talk in different register, and they'll talk in different way. Okay, we can say for the time being. So and there are people who talk to women in a very good, very respectful and very polite manner. See, I should say an example here of one of our sirs that is in our campus, NES Mumbai College, that is Professor Nista sir. He always talks to women in a very, very polite manner. I have seen it. See, I have never seen him talking to women in a bad manner or in a high register or in a in a harsh manner. Always he'll be with, even if we have made any mistake, he'll be talking to us in a very polite manner. So always I have noticed that. That's this something which is very encourageable, and yeah. So I just gave you an example here. Now, so that is the sex. Okay, but there are people who talk to ladies in a different way by considering them as a, actually that is putting them in a very lower status. Then next one is social status we have discussed here. The another one is the size of the group. Yeah, it makes a lot difference there. Yeah, if you are talking to a big group, how you'll be talking. If you're talking to a small group, how will you talking? So there's a variation there. So it's an obviously it's a factor which makes the variation in the, or we make variation in the speech structure and the situation, that is context which you are forming. Next one is the time and place of interaction. Yeah, time. Yeah, and place. Yeah, if you are seeing, even if so we talked about two persons who are interacting and their relationship makes difference, isn't it? So let me talk about a husband and wife who are in at their home where nobody is seeing them. They'll be talking in a particular manner, isn't it? Then when once they are among others, okay, they'll be switching on to another style, and once they are out or in the public, they'll be talking entirely in a different way. Yeah, any problem? Isn't it audible? Please answer, somebody.
Yes, ma'am, it's audible.
Okay, okay. I found one comment that it's not audible.
Maybe
Okay.
video is not available.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
pardon?
your video is not available.
My video is not available.
Maybe you switched off the video. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, I'm
since long
sorry.
time.
Is it okay now? Yeah,
Now,
actually, Karen
oh,
is not here. So, see, I don't know whether it's clear or not.
not
Yeah,
clear.
now it's okay. Fortunately, it
Ah, no.
came. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, let's come back. So we were discussing about the time and place of interaction. So we were taking example of husband and wife. So it's quite clear, I think, when they are subjected to different situations, they'll change their way of using the language. That is style. Okay, they'll change their style. Next is the nature of topic that is being discussed. It's very important factor. Actually, the nature of topic which is being, so see, I think see, I'm expecting you to note down the points. Okay, hope you are doing it. No need of telling to you people who are already grown up ones. Anyway, okay. Next one is next factor is nature of topic that is being which is being discussed. So that's a great factor. So see, whenever somebody is discussing about very serious matter, then we'll be talking in a particular way. And if it is a very trivial matter, then we'll be talking in a very casual way. Okay, so the matter discussed. See, we know that the discussion, its matter is making the discussion more serious and more. That is, if it is a trivial subject which you are talking about or discussing about, then you'll talk it in a casual way. So there you can find different situations. Then another one is see, for example, if you want example, like I could say that if you're talking, if you're taking the subject of talk like subject like intellectual discussions, like something about seriously about, so we can find discussion nowadays. In if you're owning the TV itself, you can find that many discussions are going on our COVID, isn't it? That is coronavirus and all. Then many other discussions, you can find many intellectual discussions are going on. And if you are just watching those interactions or watching those interviews about serious discussions, you can find that how people are using their language. And while you're just discussing about your household things, you can find, yeah, you'll be using in a very casual way. Okay. How the next one is the next factor is that is, it depends on whether the interaction is in written form or oral form, that is speech form. Yeah, this makes a great situation. That is, see, we are actually talking about the creation of speech situation. Okay, so while you're writing something to a person, it has you are making a particular formal, that is, you are registering what you are writing there. Okay, so it is making a particular very formal way of speech situation. But once when you are talking orally to a person, you're speaking directly, face to face communication is being on, and you can find that many usages you are using will be will not be registered. So you have got that flexibility. That situation has been said that you have got the flexibility to change and convert. One second. ഹലോ ഞാൻ ക്ലാസ്സിലാണ് പിന്നെ വിളിക്കാമോ ഞാൻ ക്ലാസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുക കേട്ടോ ഓൺലൈൻ ക്ലാസ് ഓക്കെ സോറി yeah what we were talking about. Yeah, written form and oral form. So that is it. So if you are writing something, you should be very conscious, because very conscious and very cautious also, because see, whenever you are writing something, you have written it, you can never change it. Okay, but at the time that, so that situation is very closed situation of speech. Okay, but another one is very open one. When you are once in an oral situation, that you have got that flexibility to change or to correct what you have told once, and when you find that no, yeah, it's not right what I'm speaking, then you can just change your opinion by changing the speech. Okay, so there you have got that flexibility. So the both these speech situations are different. Okay, so I think we have discussed a lot of factors here. Let me sum up once more. If you want, I'll just just go through it once more. We have found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factors. First one is
Hello,
participants.
ma'am.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, yeah. I can hear you. Who is it? Hello. Who is talking there?